GTA 6 could potentially bring us into a new era of gaming where games are worth more. $10 to $30 more to be precise. I'm sure most, if not all of you by now, have heard about this, and some of you probably a dozen times over, but GTA 6 isn't quite the focus here. Honestly, I could care less about GTA 6. Yeah, I'm probably on the world's loneliest island because I genuinely have zero interest in GTA 6. But what I do care about is the impact it could have on the gaming industry as a whole. But first, what's up everybody? I am your Statistax. I talk all things gaming. I play games. I got some Lethal Company videos going on right now, but I also do talking videos like this. I just had one about gatekeeping. If you're interested in that, talking about is gatekeeping necessary for gaming, link down below. But I also talk a lot about Borderlands, and we'll definitely be covering Borderlands 4 as we get more news, more gameplay, more everything. And even after the game comes out, we'll definitely be covering all things Borderlands 4 because I love Borderlands. So if you love Borderlands, stick around. I also love coffee. But now we come back to talking about GTA 6 and the impact it can have on gaming, because publishers and studios in the gaming industry are looking toward GTA 6, hoping it will release with a price tag somewhere from $80 to $100, so that the industry pricing standard as a whole can be raised. Yay! If GTA 6 released at $80, then $40 and $50 games would rise to $50 and $60, and $60 games would be $70, and so on and so forth. You get the picture. Some in the industry essentially want a new price like $80 for a game to be the new norm. And obviously, as a consumer and lover of video games, I resent this. I don't want to see this. We just had a $10 price hike to $70 and people still aren't over that. Some of my friends still don't buy games until months after they launch. Even if it's games they really, really like and are getting really, really good reviews, they don't care. They're willing to wait for a discount because they refuse to pay $70. There's a lot of people out there that are like this. It's not uncommon. So raising the prices again, I just think you're gonna hurt your sales. Maybe GTA 6 could survive it, but other games trying to do it, nah, they're gonna hurt their sales. And let me be clear, I don't hate Rockstar or GTA or any of their games. This conversation isn't because of any one studio, but because of the collective issue running the gaming industry's economy into the ground. Budgets for developing games are getting ridiculous, and somehow it's falling onto us, the consumers, to fix this problem. And that in itself is an industry-wide management/talent issue. To me, it's like making a TV show. You have a plot for that episode, and the whole story needs to be told in a 20-minute time slot. So you have to figure out how to make a beginning, middle, and ending to a story with a setup to a problem and resolve that issue by the end of the episode. This takes talent to tell your whole story while managing the time so it all fits and conveys your message in a certain amount of time. What's happening in the industry is instead of figuring out how to work with that budget, they just keep increasing it, saying gaming is getting more and more expensive. What I don't understand is you can look at games from 6, 7, 8 years ago and they look as if they were released today. So how is gaming getting more expensive? I think it's the amount of staff in one studio and the strange need to make giant games that a lot of times is mostly fluff anyways. At least that's how I feel. Now, I don't claim to know everything about game development or the industry, so if there's anything I'm missing, feel free to let me hear it down below those buttons. I mean the like button and the one that says subscribe. Did you press it yet? Anyway, my point is, why is it costing more to make a game that looks the same fidelity as a game from 7, 8 years ago? I understand with the economy, you gotta pay staff, and I'm sure that got more pricey as time went on. But I think the responsible thing to do for the industry and consumers is to attempt budget management so we, the consumers, don't have to cough up $80 for one game. I'm not calling for people's jobs. I don't like people losing their jobs, but layoffs are a realistic outcome when wages go up. I think studios need to tighten up and start ensuring themselves they are getting the right talent to leave risks at the door. A studio with 200 staff is much more clunky and difficult to run than a studio with 100 people. Oftentimes, studios grow into exponentially slow-moving giants, communication takes longer, things can get misconstrued, development time goes up, and sometimes it comes down to too many hands in the cookie jar. I also think games need to start having spatial awareness. I look at Dead Island 2 as a perfect example of a game that knows what it wants to be and executes without trying to be 2 or 3 other genres as well. I listen to a YouTuber, Mr. Matty Plays, link below, and he likes to call some games quote-unquote blender games, and we get a lot of blender games nowadays. This is essentially games trying to pull from 2 or more genres and blend them together. I have no problem with this happening, and I myself love games that fall under this category. I think what's happening though is the majority of games we are getting would fall under this category. Why, you ask? Great question, viewers. The time of experimentation in the gaming sphere is mostly over when it comes to genres. Being original with your game is much more difficult, if not near impossible, compared to 20 years ago. A studio makes a game, and almost always people describe it by saying, it's like blank, and blank had a baby. It's very difficult to be original nowadays, and this is how Blender games came to be. I felt refreshed after Dead Island 2, because it wasn't that for the first time in a long time. Was it something I've seen dozens of times before? Yes, but it was refreshing to have that simple known quantity mixed with a condensed 30-hour experience, and I could be done with it. How often nowadays do we get 30-hour games that don't bite at your ankles, begging you back for more? I know that sounds so ridiculous because you'd think when you're putting money into something, yeah, I want to have to come back for more, or not have to, but want to come back for more. But sometimes you just want to be done. Sometimes when I beat a game, I just want that. I want to have the game be complete. I can go run it back if I miss the game, but I don't have to keep going back for more and this daily quests and all this crap. I don't need that anymore. I'm getting tired of it. I have a job. I have things to do. You know, sometimes it's outside of that, outside of having a life, it's just like sometimes I enjoy when I complete it, it's complete. There is a good feeling to having a game be complete, and it's even nicer when it's within a reasonable time. My point is, Dead Island 2 didn't reinvent the wheel or anything. It just did something we already knew and just made sure to be high quality with, in my experience, very little glitches and issues, which was easier to accomplish because it was a more condensed experience. Games like this don't break the bank to make, and also don't take much sales to make the money back either. I can't speak specifically for Dead Island 2 and how much it took to make its money back because this was a special case of a game that went through dev hell for over a decade. Maybe this wasn't the best example. Anyways, that is all I had for today. What do y'all think? Is the gaming industry ever going to learn to pull itself back and be more responsible with management? Or are we going to watch the industry potentially run itself into its own grave by pricing itself out of reach? Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm really interested to hear from all of you, and I really hope that some dev companies and studios do start to learn that people don't always want an 80 to 100 hour experience. 50 hours, 40 hours, even 30 hours, people hear these and think this sounds bad. But it's really pleasant sometimes to get those nice palate cleansers that are just 30, 40, 50 hour experiences. You play it, you beat it, you can shelf it for a little while. When you kind of start reminiscing about the game, you can come back to it and run through it again. Stuff like that is really nice, to just be able to complete something, to have that feeling like you completed something. It's just a really nice feeling. So anyways, I'm totally rambling here. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.